Loads of things appealed to me about it. I mean, in reading the script, I got a sense of this world, this really claustrophobic world where so many different cultures were sort of thrown into a melting pot and just told to coexist, which creates huge amounts of tension. And the show is very historically accurate. Tom Fontana and Will and Delphine, who's the costume designer, and John Blackie, the show designer, they're sticklers for detail. And I got a real sense of that reading it. But through that, the show isn't necessarily just about seeing people in pretty costumes and, in interesting places. It's about people who existed. Not that the show's, biographical, but it's about people who very much were involved in the forming of New York and involved in what's made it today. I mean, a lot of people say the Irish made New York, and in the 5 points there were just so many of them and so many interesting stories to be taken that I think it's a perfect place for this kind of story to be told from the eyes of my character, from Kevin Corcoran, at the different pillars of society at the time, some more rickety than others, being 5 points, Uptown, Harlem, or the founding area that became Harlem. And there's a lyricism and poetry and aggression to the story that I got straight away that I really, really loved, and continues in the script further on.
I had actually started this project back when I was at AMC, and it was back in 2005, and the genesis for it was literally sitting at home one night watching a documentary about the immigrant situation in New York. I think Frank McCourt was narrating a documentary, and there were these amazing black and white photographs of immigrant children all stuffed into one of the tenements at that time, in their families, just in filth and squalor. And I have lived my whole life in New York, and have seen these tenements and passed by them on a daily basis, and have always thought, what was it like? And so that's how the idea sort of generated. I think Gangs of New York had come out a few years before, and I didn't feel that it had captured a New York that was recognizable to me, having grown up there. And I just knew that there were stories that could be told that would probably fascinate people outside of myself. And so Will Rokos was one of the first writers that I met with, and he developed the script for the show, and then we brought Tom Fontana on to work with Will to sort of flesh out the story over the course of 10 episodes. And so it wasn't until 2010, when I went over to Cineflix, that we actually then brought it over there with us. And that's how it sort of came together. It was sort of like part of the DNA. If you were going to work with me and with Tom and with Will, you were taking this project on. And that's how it came to be. And I think that was one of the things for Cineflix, knowing that this might possibly be their first scripted drama, having come from the world of unscripted programming. I think the owners, Glenn and Catherine, and they're the CEOs and owners of the company, I think they saw the huge potential for a show like this. And thankfully, it was very shortly after we all, agreed to move forward and start Cineflix Studios that BBC America and Perry Simon came on. And it just sort of was one of those moments where it was like right time, right place. They were launching into scripted drama. And it was the perfect fit for a show like that because of BBC America being in America but international. And sort of, some of these things sometimes take time. And then when they do hit and come together, it's for the right reasons.
He's a very twisted soul in the sense that he's constantly tested and asked to challenge his moral conduct, and sometimes the result means he has to do the wrong thing for the right reasons. And that stems from a history of violence and being surrounded by the wrong people. He was an ex-bare-knuckle boxer, did a lot of that, which was a ridiculous sport, crazy in terms of its violence and I guess inhumanity. And then going into the Civil War, which everybody knows is one of the most aggressive wars possible. But from there going back to New York and becoming a detective and finding that his wife is nowhere to be seen and his daughter is dead, and no one really knows anything. So he's a man that's searching a lot of the time, a man who's constantly in action trying to find the answers that he needs and will do anything to get them. So that's, I think, summarizes what he is at this point in the story.
It's set on American soil, but most of the characters come from somewhere else. And I think that there's an easy identification to all of these different characters, because we not only have Irish characters, we have British, we have German with Franca Potente, we have English with Anastasia Griffith. And we have, some Canadians too, even though we're shooting in Canada and a lot of them are playing Americans. We actually have one character later on down the seasons that sort of is Canadian. I won't give away the plot line, but there's some interesting historical twists and turns that take place. And there's the Southern thing, there's the Northern, the Civil War is still going on. So I think it's a part of history that most countries know about. It was a pretty big moment in time in American history during the Civil War. Surely everybody's aware of Abraham Lincoln, who was president at the time. He's about to win the second term of his presidency. So I think it's not some remote area of American history. I think that a lot of different immigrant populations played a role in that time, and that's why I think it's been so well received by other countries and actually is quite sellable.
The advantage to having so much time in front of a camera is that you just get to live and breathe it every day. I never have any worries in terms of, am I awake in this moment? Am I actually doing it justice? Because, of course, I'm not saying that I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well, but I'm saying
He is fantastic and doing
but
really
I mean,
well, by the way.
But it's just there's an ease to it at this point, because you're not nervous about doing too much or too little, because you're surrounded by the crew. The crew are just brilliant at making you feel easy and take risks and things like that. So as an actor, I can't think of a better job to be doing at this point. I feel so lucky to be where I am.
We have a couple of shows that we've set up at different networks, primarily in the cable space. They're all 1 hours right now. We have a show that we've already announced, so it's not new news, but it's a TNT. It's a contemporary cop drama. We sold a show to Starz. We have sold a show in Canada. And I think, our mandate, because we're small and we're new, is quality and not quantity. And I think our goal is to really, between Canada, the US, and the UK, because what we've done in the past 2 years is expand our team. I brought in a head of production that I worked with at AMC. I brought in a woman we worked with in marketing to oversee the marketing of the show. So we have a team from when I was at AMC, which is really great. And then we've expanded in terms of development. We opened our LA offices this past year. I have a head of development out there who came from Playtone. She had overseen Big Love and all of the great Playtone HBO shows. And we have a director of development now in the US. And we also have our head of development up in Canada, Sally. So I think our goal is to have, at least 2 shows on in the States, 2 or 3 shows on in Canada, and get to the number over the course of 5 years to have 5 shows going. 3 to 5 shows, I keep telling Glenn, the owner of the company. Otherwise we will all kill ourselves from exhaustion. But I think that's our mandate, is to just do really quality programming. Our bread and butter is definitely cable, but we are interested in doing half-hour comedies and hour dramas in the network space as well. And our sort of alliance with ABC Studios and ABC Network right now, I think that really helps that, because that was not the world that I came from. And so to be able to work with people that really work in that space and know it so well is great for us.